What's up, guys? Cahill here, and today we're going to talk about the downfall of basketball shoes. Now, I know I'm going to sound like a boomer here, but I actually have the numbers to back it up when I say that ball shoes just aren't what they used to be. If we take a look at sales numbers, the performance basketball shoe market generated just 800 million in sales in 2019. While COVID undoubtedly messed up the market in 2020, the 2021 numbers haven't been released yet, but are projected to be about the same as 2019. This rough estimate of 800 million pales in comparison to 2015, where the market generated a massive 1.3 billion in sales. On top of this, a ton of market share has been lost. These days, performance basketball shoes account for around 3% of athletic footwear sold in the US, which is a decline of 25% from its heyday. Basketball shoes used to be the center of sneaker culture, and now they're as relevant as ever, which leads to the question, what happened? Let's dive in and take a look at this unfortunate fall from glory and try and figure out what exactly went so wrong. First and foremost, the long-time trend of basketball shoes being the most sought-after sneakers on the market for fashion and style is officially dead, and has been for quite some time. Between 2012 and 2014, a new sneaker exploded onto the market with a minimalist design and a cheap price point to undercut the expensive and extravagant basketball shoes at the time, the Nike Roshe run. While Nike ended up overproducing and driving the shoe into the ground, this marked a shift in sneaker culture. Consumers were less interested in camping out and trying to buy big and bulky basketball shoes that were difficult to wear casually when they could buy something more versatile and at a cheaper price. From there, we saw shoes like the Nike Flyknits, Adidas Ultra Boosts, and NMDs take over, as the new athleisure wave took over the industry. After these shoes came and went in popularity, Nike SB then took the throne at the top of the sneaker world, as the Dunks have had a major resurgence and are currently the hottest shoe on the market. The recent shift from running to skate shoes shows that sneaker culture just has no interest in modern basketball right now, and that's not going to change anytime soon, as basketball shoes seem to be shifting closer towards the world of cleats than they are collectible sneakers, since they're so formulaic and basic right now. Part of the reason basketball sneakers became so popular in the first place was their versatility. Of course, they're originally intended to be worn on the court, they also used to be able to be worn casually as well. The Shaq Gnosis, Foamposites, and of course the original Jordans are a few of many examples where the shoes had a look that people gravitated towards while still being able to perform on the court. But around 2011, there was a shift in the industry that saw basketball sneakers move away from being both functional on and off the court to strictly focusing on performance. Up until the early 2010s, it was common for basketball shoes to have leather, suede, and other similar materials that you would normally see on other casual shoes. Perfect example is LeBron 8, which released in October of 2010. Depending on the colorway, this shoe was composed of either leather or suede. But midway through that season, Nike put out a second version of the shoe, giving it a new look with synthetic materials. From that point on, we haven't seen leather or suede on any major Nike basketball sneaker ever again. And for this reason, we'll probably never see a new basketball shoe infiltrate pop culture like countless others did in the past. Because when are you ever going to wear these anywhere besides the basketball court? Even though it was unfortunate in my opinion that they moved in this direction, we still got plenty of classic models in the early 2010s. A major reason for this was just more effort from the design teams of these companies. Up until about 2015-ish, we got so much innovation in terms of advancement in design. Since companies no longer needed to give any thought about making sneakers that could be worn in a casual setting, designers really went outside the box and came up with some pretty interesting ideas, which kept consumers interested. A few examples from the early 2010s include the KD6, the Kobe 7 system, and the LeBron 11. Say what you want about whether or not you personally like these shoes, but these unorthodox designs were a sign that these companies were putting in much more effort towards keeping things fresh and pushing boundaries with each annual release. But nowadays, it just seems like designs have gotten much lazier and formulaic. Take a look at the Harden Volume 5, the Trae Young 1, and the Just Down 2 from Adidas. All three have a strikingly similar look where none of them really stand out from the rest. Want to take it a step further? Look at Kyrie's signature line. Now, Kyrie's one of my favorite players to watch. I don't think any of these shoes are bad, but we've just been getting the same thing for 5 years now, which is flat out ridiculous. Let's go right down the line. The Kyrie 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all had a nearly identical look that hasn't had any tweaks whatsoever. It's clear here that Nike has no real interest in trying to give the Kyrie line a major push or innovation in any way, as they seem to just be enjoying a cash cow from one of the most popular players on their team. Besides the lazy overall design from the signature sneaker standpoint, the other major aspect that I think is killing basketball shoe sales is the other supporting lines outside of signature models becoming so obscure. Before signature shoes were as big as they are today, sponsored players would represent their brands through general models that were both accessible to everyone and had innovative technology. There are some swings and misses over the years, but there are also some iconic lines like the Nike Hyperdunk and Hyperrev and the Adidas Crazy Light and Crazy Quick that tons of players wore on every level. Nike and Adidas really wanted to push their new sneakers and use their signature athletes to help them. In 2008, Nike debuted the Hyperdunk with a viral online video of Kobe Bryant jumping over a moving Aston Martin in the brand new sneakers. And in 2011, this commercial was released with Derrick Rose promoting the Adidas Crazy Light, which is the lightest basketball shoe of all time. Both of these players already had signature models at the time, but the fact that Nike and Adidas were using their biggest athletes to promote these new sneakers automatically made them relevant, which would set the tone that these new lines were something worth buying. Even though D Rose and Kobe would go back to wearing their respective signature shoes, models like these would be worn and promoted by some of the best up-and-coming players in the league, which is also a fun way to see their marketability tested in real time. Kyrie Irving and Paul George both got player editions, or PEs, of the Nike Hyperdunk and Hyperrev before eventually landing their signature models for themselves. And Adidas had an entire marketing campaign around the Crazy Quick featuring ASAP Rocky that promoted the shoes worn by Damian Lillard and John Wall, who also went on to get signature models of their own. These were some of the biggest young names in the NBA, and using them to push mass-produced models that were accessible to everyone was such a unique way to make the sneakers feel important and boost sales. While shoes like the Hyperdunk and Crazy Light ultimately got discontinued, there are still similar lines that exist today. The Nike Zoom GT Run is a solid and versatile sneaker in the same vein as previous Nike models, but nobody ever talks about them because players like Kevin Love, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Paul Millsap are the ones wearing them. No disrespect to them, but they're not moving the needle much in terms of sneaker sales. What the GT Run needs is today's young stars like Devin Booker, John Morant, and Tyler Hero wearing their own PEs to help promote them. Instead, they usually all rock various old signature models of Kobe's and KD's that are virtually impossible for the average consumer to buy. While it's cool seeing these older models still worn today, it doesn't give today's lines much of a chance to grow in any way since there aren't any big names wearing them. So in a nutshell, I'd say that changing fashion trends, lazy designs, negligent marketing, and a lack of support from young stars has really made the entire basketball sneaker scene just dead. But if you still don't want to acknowledge just how bad basketball sneakers have fallen off, I'll end the video with this question. What is the last classic basketball shoe? And I'm not talking about just one dope colorway or super limited release that goes for a ton of money. I'm talking about a model that's going to be remembered and still worn years down the line like the old Kobe's are today. If you ask me, it's been a good 6 or 7 years since we've gotten something that can truly be called a classic, which is right around when the market began to decline. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think can be done to resurrect this dead industry, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.